Hello, Scorpio rising, and welcome to your September astrology and tarot horoscope. My name is Lisa Merrifield. I'm with Trails Edge Astrology, and on this channel, I give grounded, practical astrological advice to help you live your best life. So, if you haven't listened to my 13-minute overview of September yet, you might go back and do that. I lay out all of the transits of the month there, and I also made like a little journal page with the dates and the transits on it, and some places where you can take some notes, just to so you can write down what you're thinking a transit's going to show up as, and then make some notes about how it actually does show up. Like seeing those patterns, I think, is really helpful as you learn astrology and as you learn to apply the energetic fields as they are. So that's available to you. It's linked in the September video, the Astrology of September video, and then I have a link to it in the notes down below. So if you want to get it here, you can get that journal here too. All right, so let's talk about the significant astrology and where it's going to show up for you this month. So the first transit that I think is really going to impact all of us is Pluto sliding back into Capricorn, which is going to happen on September 1st. So Pluto's been going back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn as it moves permanently into Aquarius. So we have this last chapter in Capricorn between September 1st and November 30th of this year. So Pluto was in Capricorn between starting in 2008, um, solidly through the beginning of 2023, and then 2023, 2024. It's been sliding back and forth. And so while Pluto was in Capricorn, um, it has been transforming your third house. And your third house is all about the local environment. It's how you communicate. It's a very communication kind of house. And when I say the local environment, I kind of mean like the bubble that you live in, the town you live in, the people you interact with. It's that kind of that local space, the spaces you go to often. So there's been some transformation in that kind of energy, or the way you communicate, the way you tell your story, the way you frame your insight in the world. The third house can also have something to do with siblings. They can be biological siblings, or they can be found siblings, people you think of as your siblings but aren't necessarily blood relations. So it can have to do with that. Um, the third house is also the house of the goddess. And so it has a lot to do with everyday rituals. So any of that may have been undergoing some pressure to change, to make you more authentic in that space. Depending on what planets you have in Capricorn and in your third house, that will impact exactly how this has showed up for you. But overall, something about that has been undergoing some transformation in the last 15 years, since 2008. And we have the last pocket of that coming up in between September 1st and November 20th. So I would guess that Pluto going back into Capricorn for this last period is not anything you haven't seen before, but it might be a different permeation. Sometimes Pluto will test us and have you really made this change? Have you really stepped into your authentic voice in this area? So some of those kinds of things might show up for you, um, just to see how it feels, or a situation that might previously have activated you in some way. Something similar might come along, and you might go, "That's interesting. That's not impacting me in the same way as it once did." So it can be those kinds of things, but definitely some kind of cleaning up and finishing whatever that Capricornian work that you have been doing is. So, so that's the first big transit that I think is worth note, not just for September but for the whole fall. And if that resonates, would you give me a like or a subscribe? Help the algorithm let people know I'm out there. I would be grateful for that. All right, moving into the next transit I want to talk about, which is the eclipses. So eclipses are always significant, and they are always they're always indicators of change somewhere in our lives. And and if they are directly impacting planets, it is likely to be a more significant change. If they are just in a place in our chart, there's just maybe some course corrections or some kind of like karmic shifts that happen around those themes in your life. So, previous eclipses for the last couple of years have been happening in your 6th and 12th houses. So, they've been something about your daily habits, things you do on the regular, which could have something to do with your health. It could have something to do with your work, could have something to do with the way you serve other people, the way you protect your own needs, any of that kind of thing. So probably the eclipses have been focusing on um, how you are creating boundaries and how you are dissolving boundaries, and sort of that balance between the two, like what is rigid and what is flowing, and is there some osmosis going on? Um, This eclipse, however, is going to be in your 5th and 11th houses. It's in Virgo and Pisces. And so it's a different flavored eclipse. So your 5th and 11th houses are really about illuminating something about how you're creative. And the 5th house is about individual creativity, and the 11th house is how you are enmeshed in a group and what creativity comes from that. So the literally these eclipses can impact or can shine some light on your children. 5th house is your children, because children are one of the ways we are creative. And the 11th house can be friends. So children and friends, there's something might be illuminated there, something might shift or change there. um, Eclipses tend to be um, with a lot of transits, we can co-create with the universe. We can like lean into the energy. Eclipses tend to be just that course correction. The like, oop, you're not quite going in the right direction. We're just going to shift it over this way. Anne Ortley describes eclipses like a strobe light. The light goes off, and when the light comes back on, everything's shifted. So it's that kind of energy. And again, this one is going to be in those houses of creativity, individual creativity and creativity within groups. And so something in there might show up. Again, if you have planets in Pisces or Virgo, particularly around the 25th degree of either of those signs, um, this will be more strong for you. If you don't, it'll probably be more subtle. But nonetheless, eclipses do bring up new energy. And even if it doesn't show up hugely in your chart, people around you will definitely feel the eclipses, again, depending on what they've got in those placements. So, those are the two transits that I think are worth note. And so now let's pull some tarot cards to kind of shape out how this energy might be working. We are going to use the Black Tarot, which is I don't think I've ever read from this deck in one of these recordings, but I love it. It's very abstract, but beautiful, I think. Um, and I'm trying to I've got a ton of tarot decks, and so I'm trying to like go through and use all of them. So this is the one that randomly rose to the surface, was the Black Tarot, which I think is really cool. And then the Oracle card we're going to pull from the Sacred Rebels deck, which is one of my very favorite decks. All right, I will pause, oops, shuffle cards, and I'll be right back. All right, we have cards. So for your opportunity in September, you got the Two of Spheres. You can see the abstractness. Some of them are a little more concrete, but this one, I think it's a cool card. Anyway, Two of Spheres is the Two of Pentacles, and this is a card about balance and multitasking. So I think there's some opportunity this month to, kind of, um, yeah, do two things at once, or blend some different venues. I think this is super interesting, being that Pluto is in your 3rd house, and it is the house of communication. So it makes me feel like there's some like word um, word limbo that could be happening. Um, it also strikes me as potentially this fifth house, 11th house kind of energy, this creativity. Like, can you juggle multiple ideas at once? Can you be individually creative and creative in a group? So I would guess there's something around that multitasking, that bringing multiple things together as you plan and build and grow. So that is your opportunity. The two of or the two of spheres. The challenge is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups, so kings are the leadership card of a particular suit, and cups are about emotions and intuition and feeling. And so the King of Cups is an intuitive, really deeply caring and feeling leader. So, but this is a challenge. There's something challenging about this energy. So it could be that as you are trying to juggle whatever you're bringing in, whatever creative projects you're bringing in, it could be that that you may struggle to like show up in a vulnerable way, or to show up um, really as your full self, or you might just be feeling a whole lot. You might be asked to be sort of a container to hold a lot of deep seated emotions. Um, Alternatively, in the challenge, there might be somebody in your life who is like that. So somebody who is either could be like an energy vampire, somebody who's like trying to take from you, um, uh, whether intentional or not. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but just somebody who's kind of like sucking some energy from you, or needs you to be available emotionally, um, in a way that might be challenging this month. And only you can know that. So is the King of Cups you? Are you being asked to hold emotional space, or is it somebody else who is taking emotional energy and needs you to hold that emotional space? Maybe that's the same thing. I don't know. You tell me after the month goes by. All right, and your to-do list. What do you need to do with it? Is the Six of Spheres. So the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is about reciprocity. And so, um, interesting, yeah, you got two pentacles, two spheres cards. So the Six of Pentacles is about reciprocity. It's about, whoops, put my cards out of order. It's about the give and take. So in this process, in this balancing act, um, I feel like you're going to be asked to have some give and take with people. And I think the goal, typically the ideal in a of spheres kind of card, is that be an equal exchange. That it not be, one person is giving to another. It's um, more that it's collaborative, like it's a win-win kind of thing. Um, Oftentimes the Six of Spheres is not. Oftentimes the Six of Spheres is philanthropy or charity, um, which could happen. The 11th house can be the house of benefactors. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe you will get um, some recognition, or some kind of support from someone um, during this time, or you will be available to support someone during this time. Um, so, in the to do list position, if somebody shows up and wants to help you, take the help. If somebody needs help from you, help them. And if there's a chance for a win win kind of situation, do that. All right, what about your Oracle card? You, my friend, got collaborative dreaming, which I think is absolutely perfect for this fifth house, 11th house energy, this creative energy. So the book says this oracle comes with a particular guidance for you at this phase in your life's path and creative journey. You are no longer to think of yourself as a lone wolf. Yes, you are unique on your, oh, excuse me. Yes, you have your unique path to tread, but you now have a task to accomplish for your own growth and for the greater good that requires more than a one-man band. You will still do your own work, of course. However, others will be there to help, which I think is so interesting because we've got this fifth house, 11th house energy. The fifth house is doing it alone, and the 11th house is doing it with people. So there is something about that blending of people. The Six of Spheres is saying, you know, win-win. Uh, There's a piece for me, there's a piece for you. So I'm curious how that all shows up for you, Scorpio rising. And yeah, if this is interesting and helpful, please give me a like. Please subscribe if you want to hear more from me. I would love a comment too. Just tell me how this resonates for you. And yeah, thanks so much. And I will hopefully see you soon.